Hello, everybody. I'm so glad we've met again, and we are going to continue our React lesson. If you were not here in the first part, then I'll strongly recommend that you take the part where we build this homepage with React. We build all these reusable components, build a nav bar, and then build the cards, render this, and then build the whole product list, right? It was so lovely. And then if you've not watched that, please kind of do. Today, what we're going to do is that we are going to add authentication to the application so that users can log in. The reason is that now users can see this, they can click on the details page to see details about an item. But one main thing that the owner of this whole project would like to do is that when someone sees an item, then that person can order the item, right? And before someone can order an item, we would like to know who that person is. And then we'll allow the person to order the item. And then we'd like to keep track of all the ordered items and then from who those items were ordered. And then there should be an admin user who can respond to these orders, right? And that is what we are going to build today. And then one beautiful thing is that we're also going to add a login, logout thing here so that if a user is logged in, we can show him the right links. If he's an admin user, then we can show him the right links. And remember that I told you that the whole of this thing has been built, like the backend is working in the Ruby on Rails application. And for now, let's try to test what we are going to build on the front end to see at least what we need to do. So this is the application is up and running over here. And then I'm just using Thunder Client to test the application. We have a user model, right? This is how the user model works. I think we were able to query all the product, right? That's what we did initially. We were able to query all the product. But now what we like to do is to sign up and then log in. And this is the data we expect when user is signing up. Email, password, name, and address. And then once we click on sign up, now look at what happened. We sign up successfully, right? And we get the user information and the user role is user. And then we are also able to get something, the bearer token. This is what we got when we sign up, the bearer token. And this is what we can use to make sure that the user is really signed up. Because when we are dealing with APIs, we can go with session um, authentication. We need a token so that we can allow the users to navigate through the whole application. So let's copy this token. And do you remember that we said that for a user to create an order, let me see if this is order. For a user to create an order, then we need to um, know that user, and then we create the order for the person. So let me try creating an order. All right, this is orders. All right, great. So this is an order. Let me add this. If I try doing this, I think this token has expired, but let me go ahead and try sending this. And then you see that the token has expired. So the user cannot, again, signature has expired. So the user cannot go ahead and then add a new order. But let me go to the auth token. I copy this. So let me change the auth token. And then I go to the body. Let me change this. This user is user number 34, right? And then the user is 34. And then the product he's trying to order is just product one. And let's send a post request to the order like this. So let's see what happened. Great. You see, the order was created. And then if this user should go to order slash 71 and then send a push get request over there, this is actually denied because there's a problem with my I thought I fixed this error. Hold on, let me fix it real quick. And then let me go to all this controller. And then I think I just need to take this away from here. All right, and then let me go to orders. Great. you see that this user is now able to see the order he ordered, right? Because he's logged in. But if the user should log out, he cannot see the order. So let me delete this thing and then great. You see, when I deleted the bearer token, now the token is no more there. You see, you need to sign in to the app before you continue. So this is what we want to implement on the front end, right? Okay. So where do we start from? This is our shop UI. Do you remember how we created the product, right? We're going to do the same thing for the authentication. So what we did is that we created slices for the product. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to features. We are using Redux toolkit. So it says that whatever we want to build, just first of all, put it at the feature, right? Create a feature for that. So the feature we like to build is for auth, and then auth, right? So we're going to add this auth feature, and then this auth feature, let's create an auth slice. All right, let's create an auth slice. Auth slice. Great, and then I like copying and pasting as far as it's not wrong. So let me go to Redux toolkit, great quick starter guide, and then let's follow what they say we should do, and then great. So we install this. So all they are saying that we should do is that we go to the slides. Let me copy this guy here. All right. Let's even to copy. Great. So this is this startup file that we can follow. So just delete this guy and then take away. Cool. All right. Oh, sorry. Increment. We don't need it anymore. Sorry. We don't need this guy. Cool. Right. So we got the skeleton that we are going to use to create our slides. First of all, let's change this name from counter slides to auth slides. And this is going to be called auth because we're going to use it to handle the authentication for login, sign up, and then log out. So we like to keep a general name that we can use across board. All right. First of all, let's talk about the initial state. So what is going to be the initial state? The initial state is going to be, first, we like to check if the user is authenticated, right? We like to see if the user is authenticated. So first, we can say it's authenticated. It's authenticated. Let's call it to false. Then we can say user, like for initially, we are going to have no user. And then we are going to say error. And then error 2 is going to be null, right? And then status, great. Thank you, Copilot. So this is going to be our initial state for the auth. We have is authenticated, user, error, and then status, right? Then do you remember the whatever we created? We handled let me show you for the product slides. We are going to just follow the same thing. When we were going to fetch the data, we just use that actions to perform the fetch, right? And then we use create a sync tag and then give it an action, then action name. Then we handle that API request. And then from there, we send the response here. And then once we got a response, we do something. We check the state of the response, and then we do something with the response. So let's do the same thing. Let's do the same thing for this place. So first of all, we need the URL where we are going to access, right? So what is the URL? We are going to see, first let's import Axios. Great, thank you, Copilot. And, oh, sorry. And then great, you are so great. So we are going to import the API URL. And after importing the API URL, let's first start from creating a user sign up, right? Because we like to sign up a user and see what happens. Let's create the function to get the codes. Fine, great. You have the sign up user. I like to do that. Sign up user. And then what should we do when we call red? So we are going to have auth like sign up. And then from there, let's Copilot is trying to help, but it's not all the things that I need. Great. So we are going to have something here. We are going to have this guy here. So we're going to take the data. Let me just structure the data. We're going to take name, address, cool, email, then password. Cool. So we are going to take this data from the user. And then once we take the data, we do something with it, right? So we say response is going to axios.get. Then we post to this URL of local, not this place, but let's see where we were posting to inside our API call. So when we wanted to sign up, we were going to API of sign up. So we need to go this way. Copilot trying to be smart, but it's not always smart. Cool. And then what are we sending? We are sending a user. Now I like to do this because if I don't do this, there were some errors. You see how we were sending our request. Let me show you. See, we were doing user is set to what we got from the user. So we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to say user is set to name, address, email, then password. Cool. So this is what I'm doing. I'm just sending an API request to this post URL, right? And then we are getting the user object. And after getting the user object, we're just sending the response, the data, right? Great. So first of all, let's try to see if we can console the log, the response, the data, and just see what we got from this point. We're going to console the log because we need a log. We need the auth token. Then we need the user who is signing up from here. Then we are also going to wait for the error message if there are any. So first of all, let's console the log, the response of data, and then see what happened. Okay. Do you remember that creating this export function, we check the status, right? We came here and then we use the extra reducers. Okay, Copilot can help us. So it's not a bad thing. Great. If you are willing to help, let us allow him to help us. Cool. So what we're doing is that we check we use the extra reducers to check that if the sign up user, it's the state is loading, we just set the state to loading instead of idle. And we can use this to show the user some loading icon. We can touch on that later. Then if it's successful, then we state dot it's authenticated is equal to true. Then if the user, like it gets successful, then we should set the state the user to user. So let's add this user from get to let's add this user. Initially it's going to be null. So we can do this to null. Great. And then once we sign up, remember that when we sign up, we are sending the response that data. So the data we got, and then we are setting it to the user object. Right? Great. And then if there are any errors, we set a state.errors. This is what they are giving us, but I think we are going to change it because when I was doing this, I had some errors and then it was just killing me. So let's first of all try to see what we got before we do something about it. So once we get this form, I think we need to register this off slice inside our store. So let's go to the store. Then after this, off with it to the off reducer. Okay, let's define the uh, we import the auth reducer. Great, thank you. Cool. So we are importing the auth reducer over here. It means that now the auth reducer is accessible throughout the whole application and anybody can call it. Cool. But there's still a lot of work to be done around this. And I think you can see that where do we sign up? We need a form. We need a form to sign up the user. So inside the auth, what I like to do is that let's create a form where we can use like to sign the user. So let me create forms folder. Forms because I'm going to keep the login and then login form.css and we are going to keep the sign up form.css, right? And then for the login form, for it not to behave, misbehave, let me put this guy here. And let's go and do most of the work that we are going to do for now inside the sign up form. Cool. And, all right, great. We have our sign up form. Cool, right? We need to just build an HTML form which is going to be used to sign up the user. But how do we do that? We could go, remember, form submission is not any simple thing. You can't just consider form submission as, oh, this is nothing. No, it's a whole lot of things that we need to consider. And in React, right? React says that there's a package that we could use and to make form submission so easy. And that package is called React Form Hook. I don't know if you've heard of it, but React Form Hook. Or React Form Hook does is that it allows us to submit forms easily, and then we're able to keep track of the errors that we face in our form submission, and then we are even able to just send the user some error messages. One thing I like about React Form Hook is that we can even do validation of the things that we are sending. For example, in this sign up form, we are going to accept name, address, and then log like password, and then we like to even do password confirmation. So what we do is that let me show you what they do. There's a Yelp resolver, and we're able to create a schema. Look, and this schema comes with, let's say, if what's the data type that we are expecting is going to be a string, you can see Yelp.schema, Yelp.string, right? And then we can say it's required. So if the user do not provide that, say that like provide that field, then Yelp will throw an error. This is so cool. And then we can just go ahead and render this error even before we submit the form to the backend. So this is the resolver, and then we can handle the errors, right? How do we handle the errors? This is how they had a schema. This is the schema, and then they are saying that if there's errors, one of the four, like the fields, then we render the error nicely for the user to see. You could go ahead and customize this form to your like needs. But for now, we are going to, I'll just be very glad to use this form to handle like our submission. Okay. There's a whole lot to define the schema and then the fields, then submit the form. Okay. As we discussed, please, I prepared this one, so let me just copy and paste so what I have and then show you what I'm going to like this one. So first of all, we are saying that we should install this one into our project. So let's go here and then Control C, and then let's do this. We install this. So form hook here. I think React form hook. I think we did not install that. Let me see. We did not install React form hook, so let's add that one here. Okay. And then once it's installed, we need to grab hold of these, right? These three. So let's grab hold of this. We are using JavaScript. If we're using TypeScript, then you can go ahead and change it. But for now, we are using JavaScript. So I'm going to just do this here. I'm just following documentation. You can do the same thing. We're good to go. All right. Then let's keep going. They're saying that we should define our schema. Right. This is the schema. And they are saying that you're the object. We define the schema and tell them the fields which we are going to need. Right. For that, please, I'll define the schema here. Let me paste this guy here. And then the schema will come over here. So let's take some look at what I have. This is going to be the sign up schema. And with the sign up, we are going to expect email from you, and then it's going to be a string, just like this one. See, first name is your string, right? And then we are saying that the type is email. The type is email. Well, you can go ahead and define the types. I did this after some careful research. And then what is here is that let's assume that the users do not provide a valid email. Like we could write our own function to check if what the user provided is a valid email, but you're provided for us behind the scenes, so you don't have to worry about those stuff. So if what the user is provided is not a valid email, then we tell the user that, hey, this is an invalid email. If the user provided a valid email, then we go ahead. We don't give it any error. Then we are going to say that this field is required. All the things in the brackets means that if the user do not provide it, or the value the user provided does not match with this check, then we provide the error inside the code. So the min is just the minimum, right? The password, we are just going to be password minimum of 6. Then this one is where I spend a lot of time, password confirmation. And we are not going to send a password confirmation to our backend because our backend do not need that. But is whenever we are signing up on the internet, we see this form when we are submitting, like creating a user account, there's password confirmation. And we just want to check if this is one of this password, like the password should match. So if the user provided a password and they do not match, then we throw an error. Right? So if it's required field, it should match with the password, right? And you have to notice the name, like the name, specific name that we are giving it. This email, password confirmation, right? You don't have to make the name when referencing them. And then we are going to expect a name and an address from the user, right? So we're just looking at what they have, the schema that they have, and we are building ours. We are building ours, and that's all that we're doing. Please, if there are any questions, you can drop them, and then we can go ahead and then talk about that. All right. Cool. So let's go to the next part of this whole thing. Let me see what else is trying to follow. Where was I? Okay, please. I want to know where I was. Just want to show you where I was following, so that at least if you should get lost, you can come to this place and then it should be good to go from here. Great. This is where we were following. Perfect. So we've built our schema, right? The next part of this whole thing is to just copy this. So your comes with helper functions. This is register, handle, submit, form state, and then use form. And this is what they use to handle the form submission, right? So we can go ahead and copy this, right? I'm just the copy and paste guy. And then here we can go paste it and then make some changes to this. So we are going to have a register, handle, submit. This all by default comes from your, right? Form state is just used to handle the state of the application. Use form still comes from your, and then the resolver is You have the resolver, and then remember that this is their schema name. This is the schema they defined, and that's what they are providing here. But over here, what the schema name we provided was sign up schema. So that's the only thing we are changing, and we are good to go. Can you see this? I'm just following the documentation to do this. And we should be good to go. So, boom. These are the helper functions to help us get the values from the form. And then from there, we should talk about how we want to handle the form submission, right? So all you have to see is that when we submit, I'm going to just copy and paste. Great. We submit the form. We should just console.log get data. That's all. So we are going to see what data comes from the form after submit. Perfect. And then from here, all we do is that we define our form. We define our form. And how do we define the form? They are saying that we define the form, we add the onSubmit handler, we pass in the onSubmit. So this onSubmit that we've created, this onSubmit, we pass it to it, right? This is the same thing that was defined here, the onSubmit. Then we pass it to the submit, handle submit. And then we pass the input. Then we say under each input, we handle the error. Under each input, we handle the error. Then we add a submit so that when we submit, we can get the errors from this thing, right? Right. So I also prepared this so that I don't waste so much of our time. So let's copy this guy here. So I'll just recommend that anytime you do when they just follow the documentation, which is so great, and then it is just going to save your life. Handle submit, submit, handle submit, handle submit. Great, perfect. So what I done? Great. So let's look at what I've done. I just added some styles to it so that we don't suffer so much. Yeah. Cool. I just added some styles. So just a header called sign up here. And then we are passing the handle submit on submit. I'm just taking this from here. Right. When we submit, it should just call this function. It should just call this this handle submit. That's come from your resolver, right? So this is what I'm calling it. And then from there, I'm just giving this a label. This is just we giving it a label. And then we are registering name. You see, they register first name. They registered first name. But for us, we don't have first name, we have name. I just added the placeholder. And then we are seeing that if there's an error, like the values that we registered, you see, we registered email, password, this. So that keyword, if errors dot the field, then we want to show the error of message under this. We could go ahead and style this nicely, but if there's some error, then we go ahead and add it. Then if there are this, errors with the address to just the same thing. Nothing so special. I'm just following this. Just that this example just had first name and age. But for us, we have a lot. We have first name, last name, email, password, and an address. But it's not too strict. We're just doing the same thing that the other one. Right. For now, we've not connected this one to the backend, but I would love to submit this to see how things work, right? So let's just see this. And then I should create a route for this guy. So let's go to the name and then create a route for this guy. So what we did is that we should go to the sign up form, right? So I can just copy one of these guys. Like something like this one. So and the path is going to be off slash find, right? And then the elements, we're going to do the sign up form, great? And then we're still going to pass 0 pigs as the error element so that in case a user should have an error, we can render it. All right. Let me try. We may get errors, don't worry. It's just about code and then let me fix it. Whenever you get errors, it's nothing strange. Yeah, here to fix errors. So, okay, so let's inspect. Anyway, you can drop your messages like in the chat if there are any creating time it's not defined. So inside the offline, we need to invalid for call when you might be mismatching the status and you might do what. I'll fix it, don't worry. So let me do the off sign up. Great, and cut time for narrate perfectly. So one and invalid hook on code property, use rate, update the use rate, use form. Right, it means that we're having errors with our login sign up form and then it's all right. And then probably I'm calling this in the wrong place. So we should call this thing in the right place, right? After the schema, I think with the constant should be the better point. We need to copy these guys. Perfect. So we get our form working and right. Let's first of all I added some styles, please let me add them because this is so strange. It's hard to see what we're doing. So let me go ahead and add the of the CSS. Gone. So this is just going to be some styles. So yeah, sure, don't worry. Great. And then let me go to this sign up form and then call it sorry. The name is for the from here. Cool. So I added this styles, not too pretty, but we can go ahead and work with that. Great. This is the form that we created, and then we're gonna just check it out. Yeah. So let's go and then see the console. Let's see if there are no errors, right? Remember that we said that when we submit the form, we like to console to log the data. So let's try submitting this form and see. I'm just going to do some 1, 2, 3, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and then I will submit. Great. Can you see this? We are getting the error, like the data from the error. Sorry, from the form, from your. Let me try changing some of these things. Like, can you see this? I know my screen is so small because I'm using incognito. But can you see this? Password must match, right? Password must match. And then we can go to 3, 4, 5, 6. Now the error is gone. Let me try changing even email address, right? Can you see this? Address is required. And then when we tap one, they say address must be at least 3 characters. We are getting all of these errors for free because we are using your resolver. Right. Right. Yeah, good to you. And then I think we can use the same way to create all the forms that we are going to work on in our application. Okay, so once it's working, we would like to now connect this to the API so that we can see where we go from there. So, let me check. Okay, we got the server stop. So when we submit the form, all we're doing here is that we are console.log the results. But we don't just want to console.log results. We like to dispatch some action. And what is that action? Let me just close all others. Don't worry. So let me go to this form and then open this and then this slide. Right. So you remember that there's a sign up user thing here, and then this is the action like we would dispatch sign up user. So when we submit this form, likely that dispatch this action and then handle something. So first let's import this. Import this guy from cost life, right? Great. And what are we importing from cost life? Sign up user. Cool. So this sign up user is what we are going to import from the off slide. Then after importing the sign up user, what else do we need? I think we need to if you remember how we did the selection from the previous product thing, we use the use dispatch and use selector. I don't know if you remember. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to just use the same thing. I wanted to show you, but I think you're good to go. So use select, use dispatch, great. And then we have to define these guys. So over here, we can just go ahead and click on dispatch is equal to dispatch. And then we already have the form. So all we do is that we would like to just, after the form submission, where are we consulting the result? Great. So over here, we would like to rather, dispatch this action. And then I want to destructure the data because I know that the data that we are going to send is not just data. We would like to take some away. For example, we don't want to send the password confirmation thing. So let's go ahead and do this. Cool. So this is what I like to do. We like to send only the email, password, name, and address. Right. That's what we would like to send. And then when we send it, we are going to receive it over here and then see the response. Right? Okay. So let me just see. Now I'm not getting the errors. I'm not tracking anything. So don't worry about anything. Let's just go ahead and start the app and see what happens. I'm just going to send a correct form. Right. So we're going to be in there. Let's just send a perfect form that we know is going to work. Cool. Great. So the first form, let's see, Susan. Susan, and then his address in London, and then his email is Susan@ubix.com. And then his password, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then, all right, Susan, greetings to you. I'm just going to use your name, but the first user. Yeah. Great. Can you see this? Susan is working successfully. We've been able to create a user, Susan, and then the status is sign up successful. And if we should go to our API, let's hit this guy and see. Great. We've been able to insert the user into our data. Everything is working successful. Susan's name is working nicely. All right, so this is it. And then if you've been able to do this, I mean, congratulations. So let's go over the steps again. We just on submit, instead of consoling the data, we like to dispatch this action, sign up user, with the fields that we require. So the fields are first name, password, name, which are coming from this data object, right? And then this sign up form also accept it. It accept these ones. And then after it accept it, then we extract them, then we send them over here. And then we got the response correctly. Right. We got a response. And then this is okay. So that's it. Thank you so much for joining me up to this point. We are done. I mean, we can close the whole lesson. We can go home. No, there's a whole lot to do, right? Okay, so what if there are errors? Let's try to see me submitting Susan thing again, right? Let me submit Susan again, and there's an error. How do we get to know the error? Like if we go back to the rules backend, they are saying the user exists. So they are saying that the user already exists. But how can we show the user that this is the problem, right? We need to do something with this this off slides, right? What can we do? I think the first thing that we can do is that after the form submission, like if the user is, we've been able to even log in, then like if we've been able to sign up, we should also get the token that we can use to authenticate the user. Now let me see if we got a token, right? Inside this place, I think, let me see. I think this token was for sale already. Let me change the username and see if this token will be set. Great, this is response is successful, but there's no token set up for here for this user. It means that we cannot like authenticate this, but normally when using token-based application like authentication, we have to save the user's data inside his local storage or the session, so that when the user is browsing through application, we know that this user or something, right? So what do? Let's first tackle that before we even go to handling the errors. So let's look at the response that came. We want the token. Let's look at the response that came from the API request. And this is it. So let's say response the data. And then this is the role, the status. I think this is just the same thing that we got from here, this response. You remember, this is just the same response that we got from here. And I think that's what we are seeing over here. But we can do more. We can do more. So let me come here and then do this. I think we can go to where do we do? Oh, slide. Right? Great. So we can check so you see there's a data object over here, right? Let's see if there's the response. So response.data is going to be contain the user information. So we can grab hold of that. There's a whole lot of things that come from the response, but let's grab hold of the response of data. Okay, data is going to the response, and then we can also get the token, right? We can get a token because if we come here, let's go back to our API. Do you remember that when we go to the headers, there was a token from the authorization? When we come to headers, there's a bearer token. Right? So we can use response, right? The response dot headers dot authorization. Can you see this? Response dot headers dot authorization to get this bearer token. So let's do that. So const token is equal to response the headers the authorization to get the bearer token. And then we can just see that const user is also equal to data the user, because we are getting the data from user here. When let me go to, I'm just using the console.log to get this thing. So we are having the data object over here, and then let me console.log these things so that I know that I'm not having any of this in mind. I'm just using the console message. Now it could be different, like based on the how you structured your backend. This is how I structured my backend following the tutorial. All right, so there's nothing here to know that this user is authenticated. So let's do it again. Then I'm going to use your name all the time. All right, so this is Susan 1, and let me go to Susan 2, and then we just want the response, right? Oops. Susan, oh, sorry, the email has been taken. Susan 2. Then let me put perfect. Great. So the user is undefined, but the bearer token is there. The bearer token is coming. Means that we need to do something about the user. This is not going to be the user response, but all right, let's consult on the user like that. You don't need the user because I think the data is just the user object, and then let me do Susan 3. Susan, I'm sorry, I'm using just your name for this thing because you inspired me today. Please don't do this to me. Why can't you come down? Okay. Let's see Susan 3. This is no time. So cool. Thank you. And then Susan 4. Perfect. Can you see that? We are getting the user as an object. So it should be user.data. User.data, response.data, data, data, what we want. I don't know. Data, what we want. I don't know. Let's try to see. I'm trying to get the user who signed in. Then let's see, Susan 8. So let me clear this. Cool. So data is the user, and the bearer token is just working fine. So we can go ahead and say that const user is equal to data. Don't worry. And then we have our token currently, right? This is what we need. And then one thing that we always do is that we would love to store this in the user's local storage so that at least we can check to see if they okay, thank you. And then we can do another one. Local storage of set token to the token. And then let's do the state user to the user, like the list of user, and then let's set it to the token. Right. Good. I think this is by convention one thing I saw around when reading around it. So we set the user to be the the token, and then yeah, cool. We save this inside the users data. Cool. Okay, yeah, good to go. And then once we log in, I think what we would like to do is that we like to um, um, redirect the user to the login page. Sorry, the home page, because the user has been successfully logged in and then has logged in successfully, and they would like to redirect the user to the home page. I think what we are doing is just simple. We are just taking the user's information and then we are saving it into the local storage so that at least we can use that information to verify that the user is logged in or not. Right. So let's go back here and then over here we setting nothing inside application, and then there's nothing here, right? But let's sign up again. It's Susan's name, but let's say Susan 10. I think for now, Susan Ajubix will be stored in our local storage. Great. Can you see this? You have the barrier token set, and then we've been able to verify that the user set. I think we have an error because our user could not be saved. Let's see. The user to be just using the simplify the user data. Do we even need this user data? I don't know. Do we need that? Yeah, maybe we need the user, like when someone is trying to fill out a form, and then we need the user, we need it. So let's just use it. Cool. Let me do it again. Let me go to application, clean this up, and then let's try and sign up again and see if we can store the user information inside the application. This is 19. Cool. So let me maximize it. Cool. Oh, we need to do this in the identifier. Okay. So I think we need to do this in the identifier so that because what we're saving is just object of this. We don't want object of this. We don't want the object of this. We want the actual user data. So let's clean it up. And then I'm going to the, like once we clean it up means that the user is not authenticated again. Okay, name should be there. Yeah. Perfect. So look, we are getting the user information. Yeah, can you see this? We are getting the user information successfully saved inside the local storage. And what we can do is that let's assume that the user is trying to place an order, right? Instead of trying to see that where is this user information? How do I know that this is the user? How do I know? Don't worry. We just go to the local storage and then grab hold of the user ID and then just use it. Right. We can go ahead and name it something different, but I prefer to name it just user. And then just the bearer token is just what we are going to check to see if there's a bearer token. And then we would authenticate the user if this exists. And if we want to log out some user, all we do is that we just clean up this bearer token. And I think we are now redirecting the user back to the page, the home page of the. This is just the code. I don't know if there are any errors. This is just the code that we write to. Yes, after signing up, we save the user data into the local storage, and we are grabbing hold of the token. I think if you look at what I got, it just from after sending the push request to the sign up, we are getting headers, then there's authorization, so response or headers to authorization, and then we are getting this variable. You can use the same thing to get anything here, like the cash control, whatever. Great. So sign up successful. Sign up successful. What if sign up fails? Right? What if sign up fails? We need a way to check if the sign up fails. Because initially we had unprocessable entity. User already exists. So let me clean up this guy and then go back to sign up again. And then let me try sign up this user. And then once I hit sign up, address is required, email is required, password, oh, sorry, name, address, yeah. Cool, can you see that we have unprocessable entity? My screen is too small, great, unprocessable entity. And then from the API, we are seeing the user exists, but we need to show the user that, hey, no, your data is already there, right? So let's go here and then before we do this, right, we can just grab hold of this whole thing and put it in each condition. So when we send an API request, the status is going to be like successful or is going to be rejected. If you look at this guy here, the status was 422. But if the whole thing gets created, the status is going to be 200, right? So we can check that if response the status, right, is equal to 200, then what do? We put all this data here, right? Else, or we can put them in even a try catch block, else. If it is not like successful, then we do something. I think over here, try to clean the try catch block, which is far better. So how about doing that? Let's put the whole thing inside a try catch block. So that at least we can grab hold of the error. So try and then cool. So we try this, and then if there are errors, then we catch the error. So we can decide to console log the error over here to show the user what is happening. Right. But there are better ways, like apart, we cannot always just console log the error, right? We can create, remember that in our whole application, if we come here, error is set to null. So we can just check if there are any errors, then we set that error to this error thing. And to do that, let's build something. Let's add something here called, what should be the name? We are just going to have something like set error, right? Set error. All right. And then this is going to take state and action. And then all we do is that we see state.error is equal to action.period. So it's going to take some action. Then the action, the response that comes from that action is going to be get the error. And then let's go back to where we are rendering this error. And all we do is that we can set, sorry, we can dispatch some error, right? But before we dispatch the error, I think we first need to pass the dispatch method to this handler. So we need to do this, right? And then we are going to call this dispatch from here, and then we can dispatch, all right, set error to the error message. But we need to call the dispatch thing, and I think we can call dispatch from, here. Perfect. We can call dispatch from here, and then set this error to the error message. Yeah. But do you think you are going to get the error message? Let's console the log error in C. CLG error. Cool. Using the dispatch method incoming. So I don't think we need to import this dispatch method because it seems blurry. Means I don't need it. Okay. Don't worry. Let's consider the log error. Let's see what happens. Okay. So let's try to see if Suzanne application, let's clean it up and then clean this guy up. I think it would be better to put this guy on the left like this so that it will be easily seen. Cool. So let me go back to person. So I like to put things here so that you can see them. This is going to be very horrible. So Susan, alright. Perfect. So can you see this error? The error is saying that the request failed. But what message are we going to render to the user? I tried reading this over and over, and after some time, I found that error, there's a response here, right? And when we go down to the response, there's data, and this data has status, and then the status has message. It's just so long, but I was able to find it here. So error, the response, the data, the status, the message will just tell us the user could not be created because email has been taken. So let's just like console the log if and see. So it's going to be error, the response, the data. Error, the response, the data. Let's just I'm going to create like add this thing again because it's not been created. Yay, error. And then I'm going to use Susan. All right. How can you use your boss name in your tutorial? Great. Can you see the error, the status, the message? User could not be created, but I think I need to do more. Error, the status, the data. We can go a bit further. The status, the message. So we can go and see the status, the message. And do it again. And see, all right, it's still there. Right, don't worry. Susan is still available. The name has not been stolen. Okay, all right. Cool. The user could not be created successfully. Email has been taken. Can you see this? Email, and this is the error that we would like to render to the user. So it's error, the status, this whole thing. I'm just using the console.log to just print out what the error should look like. Now it could be different in your case, so you don't have to memorize it and say what did he say? He said that go to error the response or that. No, no, no. You have to look at the response that is coming and grab hold of the error from the response, right? So we are setting the error here. This is going to be the error message. So anytime there's an error, we are going to update the error, like the general error, like here. So here, and then we save it. So let's try to see if we can take the error from here. So just as I did for the others, I would like to export the uh, great. So it's authenticated, stdo is authenticated. Do we really need the stdo is authenticated? I don't think we need it, right? I don't think we need it. The reason is that whenever we like to check if a user is authenticated, we are going to check his local storage. Yeah, so, well, I don't know. I think we need a different account for that. But for now, what I'm interested in is to select the error and then select the status. So let's go to the sign up form. Let's go to the sign up form and then we check if there's an error in the code, right? Let's go to the sign up form. So we can then use selector again and then we just define these guys here. Select error and select status. So let's call them from here and then call them from here. Cool. In the sign up form, I like to define error and then status, right? And then we can use effect to check if there's an error. Right. So we can use effect, so we can go ahead and see that use effect. Okay, great. If error and alert error, right? Perfect. And then we are seeing that this should happen if anytime there's an error in the code. I think you don't need the status. All right. Why should you need the status? I don't know. If there's an error, because initially error is set to null. So if the error, there's something there, just alert it and let's go. Later we are going to see a better way to do this, but let's create Susan. Like let's use his name again. She's not going to be using. All right. So, oh my god. No, Susan is still active, so we don't like let's try and then brain. Oh, that should not come. Is it because we're in the name Alex is not coming? Why? Alex error is not coming. Oh no. Um, yeah, Alex is not coming because Susan is crazy with me. Um, so 422 processable entity fail to load response. Yeah, we know that. And then okay, let's console the log. Let's console the log the error and see if it will come. Let's see error. To make this different, let me just add some random thing here. Go ahead and clean this up. And then switch back to the server. Okay. Susan is crazy with me, so then we use another email that I know is here. Also, the log is here. Please, sorry, for the this is where I found it. Let me use some email I know exists. Great. So the error is coming. Error is not defined. Set error is not defined. Set error is not defined. Yay! You know what? We need to export the set error because it's an action from the set error is an action. The reducer, like here, all the reducers that we like to use, we need to export them here, right? Before we get access to that, because we are trying to grab hold of set errors here, right? But you see that set errors is defined down here. So to be able to use it around the whole application, we need to just export it. I think that's why the alert was not working, but I don't know why. So let's go here, do one more time. Coding is so it means that Susan wasn't crazy with us, but then right? Great! Yay! It's coming! So the alert is user could not be created successfully. Email has been taken. All right, email has been taken, and once we hit enter, we see that error message down there. All right, I'm happy with this guy. All right, thank you so much. But then you see that there's a better way to do this. We'll not want to keep alerting now. React, there's a package that we could use. It's called React Toastify. Look, we can use some nice toasting to like show alert to users. Like, boom, boom. Can you see what is happening? And then let's go to their documentation. I think it's let's go to their documentation. And then look, we have like we can decide where the alert should happen. Top center, whatever, but let's see top right, top center. And then the alert type, we can see tools. We say this is a nice tool, this is a promise, right? This update. Can you see that? Clear all, reset, and then so we can use any of these tools. We can give it a color where it should have. There's a warning toast. Let's see. Can you see this warning? This successful toast. Can you see this? And then we have a whole lot, right? So we like to use these ones to render the alert messages. We are not only going to render alert, we are going to render error messages, alert, info, like throughout the whole application. How do we set it up? Let's do that next. Okay, so let's set this thing up in our application. How do we set it up? They are saying that we should just store npm install React Toastify, right? So system, so npm install React Toastify, and then from there we should import this guy into our app. So let's go to the root main. Let's import the style. So these are going to be the style, beautiful styles that we see. And then from here, we have the toast and the toast container. And the toast container is where we just put it where we would like to render our message. So this time we are going to render this message inside the sign up form, right? We're going to do something here. So let's put it there. We can do better, but not find it. But let's record this. Cool. So we use some this, and we can toast the error. So if there's an error, instead of console.log the error, we can just see toast the error. Cool. So we just toast error, right? And then let's toast error. We don't care about the type. Okay. I think the documentation is providing a lot of things for us that we can do. Let's go ahead and see. Look, when we toast, we can provide all these things. So we can provide the type. Where's the type? This is too small, man. This is cool. There's an auto. Yay. So type. So let me see type with that. So the type could be info, success, error. Okay, toast the type where. Right. So the type is now an error. Let's try to see if this works. Right. Okay. Okay. Let's see if this works. So I'm going to sign up with the same user account that we've signed it up with him and see if our posting thing works. Oops. I think this user is working fine. So then, okay, great. So let's do this user. And they are saying that truth is not defined. There should be truth is not defined. Right. Post you and oh sorry. Right. Post is not defined. Great. This is not defined. And then let's restart our server. We wanted to toast, but there was an error. So let's restart our server and do it again, right? Okay. And then it's slow. Okay. Hey, can you see that this is the toast that we got? Instead of console.log, boom, we got a nice error. We got a nice error. Did you see that? Let's hit it again and see. Unprocessable entity. I think, yeah, it's not going again. Why? I think we are calling it anytime the error changes, right? An error has not changed. So, yeah, but at least you could see that it was working. Great. But what I would like to do is this toast, I like to make it a reusable component because if you look at this guy, let's go to the toast again. If you look at this guy, we could pass a toast that is a success, a warning, an error. The theme could be dark colored, right? Once we do here, you see that they keep changing. So I like to make this a readable component so that at least when um, we are to render a successful message, we can use the same component and then pass in some parameters, right? So what we did is that I'm going to the constants. Where are the constants defined? So features, so component, details constant, and then I'm going to just instead of importing those stuff here, instead of importing twist and this thing here, let's go inside the constant and then import it here. Although I don't need it, this guy. And then from here, do you remember what we did? We just toast here. So this toast function is what we like to grab hold of and then just bring it here. So we can see export const, right? And then we add the toast. Incoming. Right. So we can just do something like this. Cool. So what we like to export is handle toast. It just take a message and a type. By default, I'm seeing that the type is success, and then I'm going to take it here. So the type could be error. We're just looking at their documentation. The type could be info, success, warning, right? So you see tool the one, tool the error, right? And then we are sending the type, right? So it could make error or success, but I like to keep it as success, right? And the position is top center. You can change the position over here. Where's the here? This is top left, right? So top left, let's hit something. You see, this is top left, this top center. Let's hit one of them. This top center, top center. Let's hit top center to see. Great, this is top center. So this is where I want ours to be. Should be at the top, but you can change what you want. And then the type, mine is, let's hit a success and see. Great, this is the type that we want, right? And then this is what we are defining. And close on click, whatever, you can look at the default messages in there. So the type is colored, that's the one I choose. But you can go with the type as success, sorry, the theme is colored. You can go with dark colored, whatever. I chose colored, right? And then let's go ahead. So what we pass into is the message. Let's go ahead to this place and then hot form, right? And then we can just import the handle toast, right? Perfect. And then we just pass in the error. We just call the handle toast, pass in the error. And all it is going to do is that it's just going to render the error for us. So, but please, I think we need two things. We need to pass in the message and then the type. So, not only error. I think the message is going to be the error. Right, let me see. So it's going to be MSG there, and then type. The type is going to be error, right? Great. And then let's look at this example by just changing this, right? By just changing this, what do we have? Let's try. Let me restart this thing. Let's try this thing there. Sheesh. Let me use some email that I know exists, and then hit enter. Handle to secure the point. Oh, sorry. All right, I've imported it with the default import, which is here handle to. So handle tools is now here, right? So let's go ahead and then let's start our server. Let me use a new name than this. Okay. Great. Can you see that? User could not be created successfully. Email has been taken. Great. And then we can make our delay wait for a bit because this is going so fast. This is auto closing 5,000. Then we can make it 9,000 if you want to. I think it's going to this delay. So that is that. You can go and change the default if you want. Great. So this is going to take 9 seconds before it closes, right? Perfect. But you can close it when you want. Great. So this is what we did to just render the error messages. We are going to reuse this over and over again when we are handling the like the authentication. Cool. Once we are done with authentication, I think we can go with sign up. We can go with login, right? So let me just add something here called toast. Great. So let's go ahead with login and then do something similar. So let's close add similar to this one. Oh yeah, let's add it in this one only. Now we have the sign up, this thing to handle sign up, right? But how about login? Let's go to the API and see how login works, so that we can at least follow the same thing. So look, we pass in the user object and accept email and password. And then once we log in, like let's log in again. Yeah, once we log in, we see a message that comes up. And then we have the auth token here, the bearer token from the headers.authorization.bearer. And then we're going to do the same thing, like the same way we handle the sign up, the same way we handle the sign up. We're going to do the same thing. I think this should not be any big problem, right? So all we do is that we define the sign-in helper, right? Great. We define the login, export it, and then boom. Right. So let's do something here. I'm just following what is at the top. So export. Okay, login user. And then it's coming from here, other login. And then hey, Copilot is not a password, right? And then boom. I know what I'm doing. What I'm doing. That's why I'm accepting it, right? If you don't know this, so but AI is not a bad idea. Perfect. So let's look at what Copilot gave us. We are going to auth API login. Let me check if it is correct. So auth API, sorry, API auth login, API auth login, great. It is correct. Then we are setting email password, great, this is correct. And then we are sending the user object, this is also correct. And then if the response is 200, we accept the data from the response, which is going to come from here. And then we are taking the data, just as we did for it's just the same thing, like for the sign up. Let me open the sign up for you to see, just the same thing. If the response is 200, right? We accept the data, we accept the token from response or headers or get authorization token. We save those two into our local like storage. Yeah. And then we return the user to the login page. Right. I think there's something we need to do. Okay. There's something I need to do. I need to just close this. Yeah, now the error is gone. Great. So, and if there are any errors, just as we did for the sign up, we do the same thing. So Copilot just look at what we did for the sign up and then just do this. But then I think this one is going to be some other errors. So we'll come back to this. Right? We'll come back to this. So we can do a CLG. When I was doing this, I saw that no, there's an error. So there's an error with the error. Okay, great. We have the login pin, the function to handle login working, and then we can add the extra reducers. So what should happen if the login pin is working? So let's go here and then just do the dot. We add keys. Okay, you want to help me, right? Okay. Login is pending. When it's pending, we set the state to pending, right? Then when it is successful, it get fulfilled. We just set the state. Let me look at it. State the status is going to be successful. State the user is going to be user. All right. Then how about when it fails? So when it get rejected, we like to say the state.error is going to be error.message. All right. And then we can return this error to the user. Cool. There should not be an error if you have been following from the beginning. So it's just coming from create extra reducers. And then we just use the create a sync tank to look at what we are getting from login, like the response, and then handle it aside. Okay. After this, what do we do? The next thing is to create the form, right? So login, nice, right? Okay. The next thing is to create a form. Yeah, and where do we go? I think we even have the template for the form, but we're going to follow the same thing that we did for the sign up. So we're going to do the same thing. We don't want to waste much time again. So we are going to create a schema. We are going to create a schema, and then we are going to import this guy. So let me start from here. Okay. I think we are going to need all of these guys. Copy and paste is not a bad idea. We can use the use effect thing. Cool. And then this, we need a sign up thing, but we don't have the sign up, right? And the paste. I think we can just copy the thing. Copying and pasting is not always a bad idea. So we need sign up, but this time it's not going to be sign up. It's going to be log in. All right, login user. And let's keep going with our copying and pasting job. And we are going to do like a schema. Yeah, so let's copy the schema and make changes. This schema's here. So we need email password, not password confirmation. So let me just take it away to this place, right? And that's all we need. Going to be login schema, right? So yeah, and then after that, we handle the dispatch thing currently. So use dispatch, we use error. Yeah, with the errors. True. And then from there, we use the effect and then let me just copy this here. No, there with the file. Alright, so we use effect to check if there's an error coming from the code. We render it like we did for the last one. And then this one, the schema is not going to be login schema. It's going to be the, sorry, sign up schema is going to be the login schema, right? And when we sign up, we're not going to dispatch sign up user. We are going to dispatch login user. Great. And we are going to send only email and password. Just the same thing, right? And then now we need the form. We need a form. So we can just copy and paste the form. Different filters, right? So the first thing I like to do is that it's going to be logged in. Okay, name, we don't need name, address, we don't need address. So we can put the name and address from here. Oh, and we think we sorry, I think I copied the label for the email. Right? Cool. We have password, and we don't need a password confirmation. So we need a password confirmation. Oh, perfect. So, and then this is going to be, am I doing magic? I'm just taking what we did for the login and then just grabbing hold of the data and just doing it. So I think you can see that without much effort, we have our login thing working. We are just using like what we did for this. sign up, making changes. So we have our schema done. Then we have a form, the login form. This dispatch method is going to allow us to dispatch actions in Rails. The error, I think, it's just going to come from this error defined here. So if the login thing, there's an error, let's see. So login, if it get rejected, if there's an error, then we set the error here, right? And then that error is what we are going to accept to render it. And then we are using this Redux like form hook, React form hook to just submit the like handle the form submission and then dispatch the login. Right. If this seems like I'm singing some horrible song. Okay, great. So what do we do? Let's go ahead and give this a route and then test it to see if this should work. So let me go to the PT scene. I'm going to PT, I'm sorry. Because we've done this in the sign up form. So let's go ahead, create a route for this guy. Great. We may encounter errors because we are just going so fast. But don't worry about errors. That's why we are here. Okay. Let's hit enter and see what happens. Perfect. It is working. It is working. All right. Let's try to see a user who is there. Let me grab hold of the user from this side. So this user has been created. We first want to check with a valid user, and then the password is 126. Before we go, let me make sure that there's no data inside the user information. When logging, get an error. You see the token has been set correctly. Look, we got it. We got it. We got it. We have the token and we have the user set up. Boom. Everything is working. Good job. All right. Copying and pasting thing work. All right. Copying and pasting. All right. All right. Okay. Let's see if there's an error. Let me clear this so that user is not logged in. So going back of login. Yeah. And then let me try making this. Let's use this. Email is required. Email is invalid. Yay! Oh, it's rendering the like alert, but then the message is undefined, 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 right? The message is undefined. So let's look at the error message we are receiving and then let's see if we can show the right message here. So the message is coming from a request, the response, the data. Can you see the invalid email or password? So we need to go to let's see. So login user. And this is the error. So we need to go to error, the response, the data. All right. So error, the response, the data. So we don't need to go to the status. So let's see if error, the response, the data is going to work. Okay. Let's console the login to see this is error. We are saving. All right. No, this is just doing something smart. All right, great. All right, so let's try to see if this should work. So I remember we had Susan. Come back to you, Susan, and then let me accidentally tap a new Woo! Do you see this? Invalid email or password. And that's what we got. We got it. We got it. Now, can you see that this error message is different from like where we're getting the error message is different from where we're getting the sign up error message. This one, we tap into error, the response, the data, the status, the message, but we didn't go to the status, the message. That's why I was saying that you need to look at the console message or the response you are getting from the back end, and then you have to render things like that. So there's no need to memorize things like where do I get this error? Where do I get this? No, you just need to look at what is happening and then response accepted. So let me go to learn. I don't know if go and then boom, it works. And then if we go here, you see the verification, the authent has been set up correctly. All right, so in some few minutes, we've been able to set up our authentication and they are working so nicely. Aren't you happy? I'm glad that we were able to do that. If there are any questions, please drop them and I'll get back to you and answer those questions for you. But there's still a lot. All right. The reason why we decided to log in is that we like to allow users to be able to create things like and then change their state, check their status. So we need to do some small tweaks around this one. First of all, let's see if we can add some few more stuff here. Like we only have this admin thing here. So can we really change this one so that we can really show that oh, we can even add a logout thing. Okay, how about that? Let's add a logout thing here and sign out, right? You remember that the only thing we are doing with sign up is that we are saving user like we are saving the user token inside the local storage. So sign up can even be simple. All we do is that we just delete the user token. That's the simplest way to sign up user. Just delete the token, right? This token. So you see when we delete it, then the user gets logged out. So first of all, let's go to the code. Let's do sign up. Right. Let's go to the code and then do here export on sign log okay user, right? Right. I'm not going to go into the API because I can even do it without the API call. And okay, thank you. So it's not of like in. Great. All we're doing is that we are just removing the token and the user like data from the local storage, and that's it. And then we are redirecting the user to the login page. Once we do this, boom, user is signed out. No need to worry about anything. All right. Okay, so let's try to see how can we call this. How can we call this logout? Okay. I think the best place to call this is in the sign up for like the header here. Okay, so let's go to the navbar, right? Navbar. Okay. So with the navbar, we can add the logout button here. I think you know that this logout thing is not a link, so I wish I could add it to the nav items. I was looking for it, but I'm just not sure. For now, please let me add it here, right? Let me add it here. I'm going to put it here, just as I added the logo here. Let me add just a button to log out here, and later we will look at how we can do that, right? So when do we show the logout button? We only show it when user is logged in. and then we are accepting the login as a prop, like here. We are accepting the login as a prop. So what we can do is that you can see if logged in, right? And then what do? We just render the logout button. And I'll just want to just grab hold of this nav item. I'm going to do this copying and pasting from here. Just copying one of the nav items. And then instead of rendering this, I'm going to render a div. So let's render div. This is going to be just nav. And then instead of having an icon, you can have this the logout. You can use a button, I don't care. You can use a button, right? How are you using a button? So, okay, let's use a button. No problem. Right, and then let's add an on-click handler to this. So on when someone click on it, what should happen? It should handle log out, right? Handle log out. So we need to create this guy. So we are only showing this when the user is logged in. If the user is not logged in, we don't show it. So let's now define the handle log out. You can put it anywhere. So handle log out, Copilot is trying to help me. No, I just want to dispatch an action, right? So dispatch. Use dispatch. Important use dispatch. And let me call this point. Dispatch is going to use dispatch. So let me dispatch. Great. And then what are we doing to dispatch? We're going to dispatch this log out. Okay. We are going to import something. Good. So when someone click on this link, log out, you just call this one, log out user. Log out user, you call it. And then this one will also call this authentication. It will just call the logout user. And then once it calls it, we will just delete the user and then return it to the office. I know there are errors. Ooh, look at that. All right, look at that. So let's hit enter and see. Yay! We logged out the user. Can you see this? We log out the user, and then let's go back and see. You see now the user is logged in, so we don't have this log out thing here. The reason is that we are conditionally rendering this inside the navbar. We are saying that if the user is logged in, then show the logout button. If not, don't show it. Don't show it. Don't show it. Okay, great. Great job. Congratulations. I think there's one last thing I like to do really fast, right? Really fast. I like to show the login buttons, right? Login button. So let me go to the container and then add some links. Yeah. I can just copy this guy. And then we first go to log in and then auth log in and then access is log log let's do log out, right? Access is going to be logged out, right? Then out and then auth out. and then access is going to be locked out like this. So we are creating a new access level. You can create any number of access levels, like without any, like, we don't care. So let's go into the nav bar and just add something. So we can, let me grab hold of one of these, and then let's say if access level is equal to log out, right? And not like current user is not logged in. We just want to return true. All logout means is that the user is not logged in, right? If access level is logged out and the user is not logging is false, then we just want this one. Okay. All right. So okay. Remember that we were sending this guy here, we're defining the login as true, login as false. But then for now, let's make them false and then false and just see what happens. You see, we are now having the login and sign up form. Now having the login and sign up form. And they take us to the right place. Right. Can you see this? And this is all because we render the thing dynamically and then we've set up this thing correctly. The only thing is that we have to now check if the user is logging from here so that our whole navbar will complete. We are manually typing the is login and then its admin values. But how can we get those values from the login status of the user? Now, do you remember how we saved the user's token into the local storage when we created a user, right? Let me show you. Let's go back to it and see if you could recall. And when we go to auth slash, and then when we log in, right, we set the user auth token and then the user inside the local storage. So anytime we would like to check if a user is logged in, we can go back into the local storage and then check, right, that there's some value set up for us. All right, so let's do this. Because we're going to use this over and over again, I like to create it inside the constants, and then let's create a function, a helper function inside a constant. Let's call it x dot const use of, right? And then it's just going to be we are going to get the local storage, right? Local storage of get item token, right? And then if the token is exists, right? If there's a token, then we are going to return that this is true, right? Great. So local storage, let's give it a variable. So point token is equal to great. Then if we like to return true, if the token exists, to return token great. So if token exists, right? If the token exists, they would like to see that it's authenticated is true. But if it does not exist, they would like to see that no, it's false, right? This is the helper function we're gonna use. And then now let's go inside the sorry, container. And then this, oops, yeah, I think there's another brand new morning. So things are like the machine like to freeze a bit, but we'll come back to it more. All right, so let's go back to the this place and then we import use auth. Cool. Thank you. Use auth is coming, and then over here we can see that is authenticated, right? Instead of this, let's go to this. It's logged in. We can just check it to the value of its use auth. So if use auth is true, then it's authenticated is true. And if use auth is false, then it's authenticated is false, right? Cool. How about the admin? Let's do the same thing. I think when we log in a user, I think we also save the user object inside the, uh, let's go here. I think you remember that we saved the user, local story of set item user, right? So let's do the same thing for user. So now this is youth also. The next one is to get user. So let's get the user from the local storage aside. How do we do that? We can do first one, yeah, um, okay, use admin and then um, it's not going to be so we're gonna get user from user is equal to JSON.parse. Great. So you see that when we were saving the data, we did JSON.stringify the user object, but now we are going to return the JSON, right? And then if user the role is equal to admin, great, great. Let me show you what we do when Copilot is open and that. Let me show you this. We go to the where we log in the user. What was the so off slides? We go to SRC features off slide. Great. So when we log in a user, right, we did JSON the string about the user object, and then we were able to get that user, like we were able to save that user into our local storage. And when we want to get the user data back, all we do is that we are going to get the same user like JSON.parse local storage dot get item. We call it user, so it's going to be user. If you call it current user, it's going to be current user. And then we are going to say if user, and then user the role is equal to admin, return true or false. Now let's try logging in. And I'm going to import the same changes for here. So okay. So let's try logging in and see. We just define two functions, use all and then use admin, right? And all they do when is that we check the local storage, the values that we save into the local storage. And then if they are there, right, we return true. If they are not there, return false. And the beautiful thing about this is that we did all like here. Let's try logging in. We have this login thing here. There's an error. Oops. Reference error requires. Oh, did I do require? Let me see the mailbox. Perfect. So now let's try signing in. Let's go to sign in. And then the user like to check his info, domain, and then 1, 2, 3. Oh, email or password invalid, right? This is good. Great. We've been able to sign in and then, okay, okay. Let's go to the app application. Cool. This is what I was talking about. When we sign in, see, we are getting the user data and then we are getting the user role. And this one we got JSON.parse, right? We use JSON.parse to pass that user object that we saved into the database, when we registered the user, right? We are saving it. Now we are retrieving it. We are retrieving it. And then when we get the item, you see the item is already coming with a row, um, and then that row, we just want to check if the row is admin, return true. If not, return false. If user, and then user the role is there. So if there is no user, then we return false. We don't even go ahead to check. Yeah, right? Great. And then you can see that over here, we are just able to write just some small function to get this auth current user login. And you can see that now, because this user is admin, can you see that we are seeing the we are getting this slash admin thing. We are getting this slash admin, right? Because this current user is an admin. And, logged in my profile, we are seeing that admin, we're seeing that, and then we are not seeing the logged out, and then yeah, where those with access logged out, but we're seeing everything. There was something I wanted to do. There was some small tweak I wanted to do because I found that a user cannot be an admin if he's not authenticated. So I decided to modify this small. So let me go to the nav, and then the nav bar. Cool. And then for those logged in, before the user is an admin, I would like to also check that if current user is admin and if the user is admin and he's off, great. He should be logged in and he should be admin, right? And admin should be set to true and it's logged in should be set to true. Because if you are an admin, then first of all, we would like to check if you are logged in. And see this is working. But then the moment you log out, your admin, you lose your everything, including your admin. Role. Can you see this? And now you're rendering this dynamic column. You're able to get the user status logged in or sorry, logged in or is admin from like these things that we do. And then we are good. I know there are any questions. There are no questions. So let's keep going. Let me have some connections to this guys. Cool. So the next part of this whole thing is what we did, right? We would like to perform some actions. For example, we like to create a product. This guy is an admin, so let's try doing that. We like to create a product. We've been able to list all the product, but let's try to see if we can create a product. How do we do that? If you remember doing this inside the back end, let's go ahead to the back end. Let me go to the body, to the product, to the product. Yeah, hey, great. So we passed a body, and this body was having a product thing. And then once we create a body, we receive the body of the log. Let me try logging in and do it again. See what is going to happen. We should create this login thing. Perfect. And then let me copy this directly. Then let me go to where we see the product. So here product. Let me push this down here. token, and then we go to the body, and then this is yeah, this that. Good. Whatever. All right. Like he's an admin, so he can create a product. Look, we get the whole body of what we created. Right? And this is what we want to do on the UI. We've done this over and over again, so I think for now it should be easy. First of all, go ahead and create a slide. Once we create a slide, we do get this slides, right? Onto the page, onto a page. And then we use the form hook, React form hook to just validate the form. And then once we get the data, we dispatch an action into the Redux store, right? To just create the whole thing, handle the API request. And then once it's done, then we return the response. Right. Great. So we'll be doing that over and over again. So it should be now simple. So you know that what we're going to create is product, right? So let's go to the product feature, and then product feature, and then let's inside the company like to do here. Let's create a first of all, let's create a slice first before we come to the form. So let's create a slice. So that's so we want to do okay, all right, and then we're going to put out the free product, and this thing we're going to take the product, and then we're going to send the response to product, and then what should happen? Return the response to data. Great. Thank you for color. So just as we fetch the data, you would like to also create the product, right? But if we do this, we are going to fail. You know why? Initially, when we were fetching the product, we did not have to provide any auth token because it was accessible to the whole public. But now, before someone can create a product, that person should be logged in one, and that person should be an admin. So if we just try to do this, we are going to have an error. It will fail. I don't want to go ahead and do that, but let's do that from the backend perspective and let you see what we're talking about. So this is a product. You see, initially we created a product, the web bar. Let me go to the auth, right? And take away the bearer token. And then let's try hitting enter for the same thing, right? For the same thing, look what happened. Boom, you need to sign up or sign in before you continue, right? And this is what we're talking about. We need to provide the bearer token before we are able to create an account. How do we do that? Yeah, that's what we did. So let's see. All right, so the headers, we can get it from somewhere. Let's log in again to see where we get the headers from. Do you see that when we log in, we go to the response of headers but get authorization, right? This is the header, right? So, and we save that headers into the, we save this headers into the local storage. When someone logs in, we save it into the local storage. Here is the token, and then we get the bearer, whatever. So all we're going to do is that, all we are going to do is that, just take that token and then send it as part of the creation of the token, and then boom, everything will work out successfully. It may sound like a new song, but let's try doing this. So let me go back to the constants again. Constants again. And then let's create something else. Right? Let me come here, and then let's point diff right? And then it's just going to be a normal function, and then we are going to get a token, right? Oh, you want to help me Oh, let me see if we get it right thing. So we're going to get a token from the local storage, and then we are going to return the headers, right? And then we are going to set it to the authorization is set to bearer token. We are going to just return the headers and set it to authorization, but this thing. Okay. Okay. I don't know if you get it point. We are going to just return this one. Just as it is here, it is here. Like we send the head off, we go into the bearer, and then we just do this, right? And then after doing that, we can create a product. Um, we were able to create a product, so let's do this. Yeah. But when I was preparing this is how I handle it. We're just going to return the authorization token, and then I guess uh, this is how I prepared mine when I was preparing this. So let's try to see if this is going to work. So get auth headers, we go grab hold of the token and return the authorization with a token. Let's see if it works. And then let me go to the product. If it doesn't work, we're going to change it, right? Don't worry. Let's go to the product. And then what do we do? In the product, we're going to say that, okay, um, let's try, first of all, importing the auth headers here. Even auth headers is coming from the same place that the URL is coming from. So we don't need to, we can get auth headers, right? Cool. Then once we get the auth headers, we go to where we need it. Okay, we can just see that this is equal to get auth headers. And then once we've done this one, we have the product that we're going to send, right? Initially, I restructured it, but now I'm not destructing it. Then all we do is that we just add the headers to it. We just add the headers to it. And this is all we need to do. The headers is going to be set to that headers coming from the display. So it's just going to be this authorization set to the bearer token. And then we are calling them here. And this is just how we just create the API code. Cool. All right, so create product. Yeah, I think that's all we need to do. Is there something else that you remember we should do? But is this also going to work? No. Let's look at how we send the product thing. Do you remember that this body has something like this? Yeah, so let's just modify this one too. So it's going to be an object, right? And then this one is going to be an object. So product is going to be the product which is coming from here. So just how I sort it. Because we are sending object. The product is set to the product itself. Cool. Are we going to receive product? We're going to receive an object. Whatever. And what should happen if things get successful? Whatever, don't worry. We're going to handle that later. We're going to handle that. So let's go to our good old cases and add something. So add case, and then if it's successful, then if it's loading, we do something. We do something, and then let's do. If it get fulfilled, that's the only thing we would like to change. So if it get fulfilled, we are saying that state of product dot push. Yeah, can do push. State of product dot push. Yeah, but I think there could be other ways to do that. Oh, so let's just push. Let me check my notes to see how I did it. Oh, did the other get pushed. Right. Or we could do state of product. We're going to be set to the state of product, and then we can do something like this. State of product is going to be equal to order product, and then we add the accent of people. I prefer this way. State of product is going to be order product, and then we put the accent of people. I prefer the way we think this way. Cool. Then if we get rejected, we just send the error message. Right. I think you should understand this one. No. Right. But is this going to work? No, we still need some things. Look, when we need to create another, let's look at the back end. I intentionally decided to do this so that at least you see how things go. Right. See, we need a company ID and then the category ID. Where does the user get them from? You don't know which categories we have. You don't know which companies we are having database, right? So we also need to fetch the company and then render them using a select form. I don't know if I'm saying that nice. So this over here, we were able to type them manually, right? We were able to type them manually. And then we're able to type the company ID also manually. But then the user can do that. And maybe even later we may use some random UUID to do the whole thing. And how is the user going to know? So we need to fetch all of that company, the product, the company, the categories, and allow the user to just select one of them. So let's before we go create it, let's go fetch the companies. So export fetch okay fetch people please category okay creating point and then we're going to be category or like we don't have a category thing, so we're going to product the first category, great. And then all we do is that we take the categories and send the response that we have. So simple, right? So simple. And then also take categories is equal to export point. Okay, first categories. We're doing this, and then we're going to just create the categories like that. Great, nothing to worry about. Cool. And then we do the same thing. The category is going to be open, so we don't need to send some headers. But if we want, right, we can just pass the headers. Imagine the category thing require us to perform some authorization, then we can just pass the headers here, right? But it is not required, and if we do it, there's not going to be any error. So let's just do that. Then let's create the company. So let's see the export on um, we're going to be through the same time. So we're going to put company and then let's do this. Right? Then we can follow what you need to try to help you. Great. So we are also going to fetch the company, right? We're also going to fetch the companies. And then once we get the companies, we are passing the headers, no worries if you don't pass them because the companies is open to the public. We're able to pass them and then we are now fetching the companies and the categories. What should happen if we fetch them? First of all, I think we need to define some categories here. Then the companies too should be here. Categories should be here. And the companies. Now I made this error typo from when I was building the API. Now I like to take it throughout the whole application. It's very, very weird. I did that. I'm so sorry. I spelled categories wrong. Companies wrong. All right, so we got this one. And what should happen if we are loading them? I think you see that this repetition with the cases repeating. We just want to know what is happening behind the scenes so that we handle the error success. So to add things when it's first categories is pending, we set it as pending. When it is failed, Then we say state.category is equal to the action of payload, and what should happen when it is rejected, right? And then we are good to the state.enum, boom, and then cool. Let's go to companies. Let's do the same thing. And then, all right. Good. We good as well. So now for every request, you're going to have three cases. Every request, you're going to have three cases. Error succeeded and then loaded. Error succeeded, loaded. Error succeeded, loaded. It's just by the convention. Because when we are handling email, all those requests, we got all those stuff. One else, perfect. Good. Cool. We got these by default, and then we've added this one. So let's go ahead and now create our form because we have everything that we need. Oh, just as we exported these, like we get product status. Let's also try and export the export of get all categories and then get all companies, right? Let's try to do this so that we can grab the code of the category from here and send it to the form that the user is trying to fill. So let's go into this place and then create a form like product form.css. Okay? Cool. So we do React and then we're going to do a lot over here. So just tighten your seatbelt because you see now we are fetching categories, we are fetching companies, and then we want to pull all this data here, and then we are going to have a select form. It's not going to be like how we did the it's just going to be something similar to how we did the login sign out, but it's going to be a bit different. So let's go and look at the code that we did, and then let's copy something from there. Copy and pasting is going to help you right now. So let's go to the off slice and then off slice and then hey, do you remember what we did? We needed the these things your job and 100 so let's copy everything. Not a bad idea. And modify what we need. And we'll come back to you, right? Come back to you. And then we're gonna have use form, use dispatch to stir, right? And then sign up. We don't need a sign up. We need something else. What do we need? We need to call. Those are the actions that we like to perform. And then let's see. So what is happening? Oh, so we're going to the post. Oh, you don't need the post line. Where are you, search product? This having because of the autocomplete. What is this? Please autocomplete go away. Let me go here. Dot slash product slash. No. Let me see what we're doing from. So product is here. So product slash is just when we go back one. So all right, product line. Cool. And then what do we get from product line? We are going to create product grade. Let me just grab hold of what is we need from here. Don't want to make a mistake. So okay. Perfect. So let's grab hold of what we need from the product line to be able to create a product. So first of all, we need a create product. Then Yeah, we need this one. I think we're getting it from here. Prep product, we have it in here, which no mistake. Then we are going to have the fetch categories because we need that to get all the categories, to be able to fetch the categories. Then we need the fetch companies and then fetch the category, right? And then I think we also need the those things that we exported here to get all categories. We need to get all the categories that we fetch, and we need to get all the companies. Yeah. So we get categories, get companies. Then we need the status too. And I think we are just changing the status. So let's just get product status. We need a lot, and then product error. And then we need a lot. And then the styles. Uh, we're just going to get a product style. So okay. Cool. We need a toast, but I don't know if the toast is coming from the right place. Oh no. Okay. If you are there, fine. Cool. So we got these things set up for us, and then by just following the sign up for what we did, what we did. Cool. And the next part of this whole thing is to create a schema. And then the whole thing is that what are we going to create? Let's look at what we are going to create. We need a name, image, description, company ID, category, and a price. So we're going to create a schema for this. And then I created it over here. Don't need to worry about it. Now, if you want to know what is a schema, just go ahead and then let's visit the React form hook website. And then you see that when this is what we are following to create our form, we should create a schema. The schema is just what we expect from the what we expect the user to provide, and then what are the types that we're expecting them to be. So we can create a schema over here. Right. We're going to call this the product schema. And we are expecting name to be a string, right? And then it is required. So name to be a string. We say invalid email, required name, and then we can even give it a min, just like we did for this plate. So the min, great. Use value to be of okay. Description. I think in the back end we said that there should be a name. So let's do the name, and then we can three company ID price. So great. So we got this the schema created for us. And then from there, I think you remember that inside the sign up form, we use the dispatch and then the errors, and then we're able to get all these, right? So first of all, let's see what York is giving us. So we can copy and paste this guy from here. Now let me follow the documentation so that I don't get you lost. And then we go here, and then we update this asset. Right? Follow this React form theme. They have the register theme that comes with the form. So we're going to have the same register, handle, submit, and then the form state, right? It's going to be errors, and then we are going to call this form, and the schema is not going to be, let's call it product, schema, right? Let's call this product schema. And then, yeah, we're going to have this schema, and on the submit, we're going to console the log the data, right? The only difference is that for now, we need to load the, we need to fetch the companies, we need to fetch the category, and then we need to show the whole of the categories and then render them. And then how do we do that? I think you remember that when we wanted to show something, let's go to, where are we calling something? We're using the use selector hook, right? We use the use selector hook to grab hold of the data that we want, and then we can just do something similar over here. So let's go ahead, and then we can, okay, on this patch, and then cons errors, and then status, and then categories, right? And then the last one that we need is companies, right? Perfect. So we got all these companies out there. We got the categories, and then we can go ahead and use them. I'll come back to you. Go. And then we can use the use effect like hook to make sure that when the state is idle, we would like to load or fetch the company from the API. We like to fetch the categories, right? So how do we do that? We can go ahead and say use effect, and then use effect to say that if um, status is set to idle, what do? We dispatch the categories and then fetch companies, and then boom, right? Great. So we like to fetch these two. And we know that once we fetch these two, automatically, we're going to have some data inside the get our categories where inside the categories, right? And then we can use them aside to render our data. So what do we do? On submit, we are calling the handle submit, right? And then if there's some status is loading, we don't like to show the form. Let's assume that we are loading this thing and we are not done. We would not like to show the form. So we can say that if, where do we check this? So if stars is equal to loading, don't show the form, just return the loading button, right? And then if there's an error too, don't show the form, right? Just return the error. Sorry, no, it's going to be if error, the error is coming from this place. If there's error, don't show the form. Just okay, we can handle the tools and then we can do error, right? We don't want to show the form because if there's an error, how can we show the user something? And our message is going to be the error, and the type is going to be the error. We're doing all these because we would not like to show the form if there's an error, if there's a loading state, because you can see that we are going to base on the let's go to the where we created the product on these form category, company, and the category. So if the companies are not available, if the categories are not available, how do you get the company ID, right? So we don't like to show you the form. If there's any error, we like to resolve it before we even go ahead and show you the form, right? And now the rest is just JavaScript code that we write to just say that, hey, handle this, handle that. And then let's put everything inside the container. Remember our good old container. Where are you, dear container? No, it's not important. It's not important. I've seen that when this thing start coming on the page. My auto import is not working, so we need to do it manually. So I'm going to literally call the container thing and then yeah. So we can put the content here. Let me copy and put the content and explain because we've done this over and over again. No need to worry too much about this. So try to import from if you don't come, I'll import it myself. So I'm just adding some stuff for product container, and then we are adding the product, that's the header. This is just the handle submit form handler, and then we calling them on submit. We are going to construct all of the data, right? And then let's say it's called product. That's how we define it inside it. So it's just up to us, but let's call it product. And then if there's an error, we are going to have a name. Look at the fields. We have name, image, description, company ID, category, and then the price. And then we are calling name, like this is the name, this is the image, this is the description, and this is the category. And then we're going to call the company, and then the company is so All right, cool. So I'm sorry, someone came here for me. Okay, so we got these now. The only magic is here. We are using the select, right? And then we are calling the company. Could not find the name companies. Do you mean, yeah, I mean companies, right? Cool. Yeah. The only magic is here is that we are calling, like, we are using the selector to call the company map. Now we are mapping through all the companies, and then we are setting an option. We are going to get the category, the ID. This is the category. So category, the ID, the value is going to be category, the ID, and the name is going to be category, the name. It's just how we handle selecting React, JavaScript, HTML, nothing more, nothing less. What are we trying to get? We could go by just putting the data manually, but then we are getting the data from the API. We are just uh, like putting them here, and that's it, right? And then once it's done, we can dispatch the create this thing for the button. I think I need to import the container because it decided not to come to the phone. So we are importing the container from here, and I think we are good to go. So we can also import the style. So um, it's nice. Yeah, product of CSS. Um, yeah, we don't have to worry too much about the rest. We're going to handle the toasting thing and this thing later if there are errors. And then you can put it here. So I think we are calling on the picture. Let me put it here so that if we do anything for it, then okay, cool. Let's go and look at the errors we got. Yeah. So I think it should be easy. We are just following the same thing. The only magic is that we are now selecting all the companies, all the products, sorry, all the companies and all the categories. The only thing that we've done differently when we are loading them when product forms were. Where are the companies? User yay. This is the only thing that makes this thing different. So we're calling the data from the API before we even render the form. Right? So we need like a route for this guy. So I think we go to the route, the mean. Go mean. JavaScript have not used this control P thing. So control V, okay, and then um, okay, let's go to where the product is. This up here after this place, let's add it. Um, okay, okay. We are going to product. Ah, did we not do product slash ID? Yay! I wanted to add it here, so I'm back. Just look. So where we did this product thing, let's add this thing here. Great. So we have the product slash ID. Now let's go to product slash name. This personal preference. So it's going to be product form. Perfect. Great. So when we go to the products slash new, we go to the product form. And I think in the navbar, we even decide we made the products slash new thing there. Let's go check container. My profile, login. Okay, let's add this one because we've not yet done my profile thing. So let's go ahead. Add that. And then it's going to be that slash new product, right? Then this admin, if you are an admin, that's when you can add a product. You can add a product if you are not an admin. Oops, but let's see. The container is not where we thought it was, so we need to go there. Yeah, so container is not coming from here. Okay, so this is the we are seeing the container is not coming from here. So, then container and then container. It's cool. Container, let's continue coming. So container, we need to go back. And there, um, company, container. Yeah. Is that how we name it? We go back, components, container, in the flow. USB to container. The components, we go back to the component and container. That's perfect. So we got this thing working, we're fine, and then now let's go to add. Woo! Can you see this? This is our form to add a new product, right? And then the beautiful thing about this is that let's see if this is loaded. This thing is not loaded. This is not loaded. Why are we having the thing? So let's look at. Oops. Let's look at dev tools on the left, the right. Okay, so we got the categories. So this is the categories. And then product. Okay, this is the categories, and then categories, and then the categories has all the. We don't want to load all the categories here. Please let me go and do something in my backend. I think categories controller. We don't want to. We just want to regulate the category. Not the category listing everything. And let me go to the companies controller. And then we don't want to include this. We just want to know the category. Stuff, right? So let me try this in the back end to see what if I'm getting the right thing. Before just want to know why this is great. So we got the categories are working, not like loading all the data and then categories and then great. We just need this one. We don't need a lot. So um, let me go back here and then see if we are actually loading this thing correctly. We got an error, get all categories and then get all product, get all product categories and then we are just dispatching the categories from now, right? And then let's see if we are dispatching this thing correctly. Why are we not having this? Why are we not having this? rendered fewer hooks than expected. This may be caused by accidental or early return statement. Maybe returning something to return this. Okay, let me do this. Maybe I'm not supposed to do this. Maybe that is supposed to do this. Okay, let's go to the consequences. Okay. Companies not found. Yay. There's a typo. Companies. We don't have companies. We have companies. The name should be. We go to the product lines, and then it should be search companies, and then instead of companies, the name is companies because I made a typo. I told you I made a typo here, so it should be companies, not companies. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Let me try changing this if I'm missing something. Yes, I'm coming. I'm having this. Let me try changing this thing. There's something. Okay, so we don't have this company defined here. Inside the product slide, get all content. Get all contents. Get all content. This this particular this all particular. Yay! We have an thing. Great. We have an thing now. It's working. Look, we're able to select the companies that we have. And if you look at these, the companies inside like this company, this is the product, sorry, the company. So let's look at the companies. We have only 5 companies and they are all coming from database. And then the category 2, we have only 3. So category uh, great. House, car, motor, gold. And look, we have house, car, motor, gold. Great. So we are having this data set successfully. And then let's try to new product here. And then there's going to be an image. This is a long description. All right. Then we have this thing here. And let's start some things. And remember that we said that when we submit this data, all we're doing is that we should console the log the data. Sorry, because I was debugging, I tried dispatching this guy. So let's just console the log, see onto the data that we have. I was trying to call them for that. Okay, let's console the log the product to see what we got. Okay, let's hit enter and look, we got a product. We got a product. So this is what we are getting, and you can see that it's we did not get the category name. No, we selected a category ID, the company ID, the description. We are having this, so we can now send this to the data, like the um, we can now dispatch this action to the um, Redux store. So let's just dispatch um, create product, right? Let's go over the whole steps again, and then because I was having this weird error. So all we're doing is that we are importing this from York and then York Resolver, and they are just there as form helpers to us. We've used them over and over again, so no worries about that. And then from there, we are importing the functions that we created in the Redux store, right? And then from there, this is a container. And then York is saying that, sorry, React forms is saying that we should define some schema, right? Some schema, and then let me call it product schema. Great. We should define some schema, and this schema is going to just tell us the shape of what we are expecting in the application, and what are the fields, are they required, and then what are the types, so that your or the form who can validate these things to us. And we saw that when we're doing the sign up. We don't have to worry about how do we validate that this field is a valid email. The office is going to do that for us. We don't have to worry about it. So it has all these form helpers. And then we can just call this use select hook to get our data. And then from there, we just render some things. If the state is idle, we just return this guy. If it is loading, we return loading. If there's an error, we return error, right? And then if sorry, it should be if there's we can return the error, because in the slides we did not define, we did not see that. Great, we said that if there's error not filled, right? Cool. And then from there we are handling our form, returning the error messages, and then the only magic was where we use the select, right? And these select is just going to allow us to just select this thing, and you can see that we are now able to select the form thing, and then it works fine. I don't know if we can add some styles to the select style, but we can just see um, select, and then we can just see padding of the top should be like top within 1 rem 0. Right, let's see this off for this, because we just behaving. It's not working. So I see the input. I think I did these things inside the um so we give it a pattern, but that's what I did, but this time it's not working. So I don't know. Maybe you can touch on that later. So it's just the select. No, it's not the select, you just select. Sorry. Great. I'll just say the select, right? But it should be select, just select. And it should work, right? Yeah. The pattern is stopped area. This time it's not expected standing, and then you can see wait maybe 100. Let's see. forget about this. We already have a working thing, so this is the most important thing here. We can later focus on styling, but perfect. So what do? We now want to send this data to the EPL. And then let's look at how we handle that. We said that we would like to dispatch this action, create a product. And where is that create product coming from? It's coming from the slide that we created. Okay. So create product. Great. This is create product. And it's going to take the product, right? This is the product. And this is the first time you are going to send the header. So you should watch out for the changes. So we are saying axios.post. And we are posting the product that we are receiving. And then we are adding this headers to where. Sounds like magic. Perfect. Let's console the log to see if there's some response. So we are seeing response for data. And let's see its call response for data. Let's see if there's something that comes out of this one. Okay, so great. This is what's the product that we are going to create? Let's say 3-bedroom house. That's great. 3-bedroom house at Adenta. What's the image? I don't know. This 3-bedroom. Let's go and search for house. Bedroom. Let's get some images of a nice bedroom. Like copy image, address, and then let's just go here and push our 3-bedroom house. And then this is a very nice house, right? It's a house. The company is here and the price is 2,000. Yeah, it's very expensive. The house, oh my goodness. The house, it should be, sorry, it should be a house, right? 402 status authorized. We are not authorized, right? Right, we are not authorized. Let's try to see. Oh, notarized means that this response could not be created because there was an error. So let's go inside the app application, and then this user is an admin. So why are we not authorized? Let's go here. Fish. Unauthorized. All right, so we are sending headers. Let's try debugging this to see why we are not authorized. So we created the headers over here. Headers is get auth, which we are getting from the auth token, right? And then we are just explaining that the headers is going to be the get auth. And then when we pass the, we go and then post the, create the product. We are passing the headers. And then, so don't get 3.3. Yeah, this is the product, create product grade, and axios the post, and then API URL like product. We are adding the product. Yay! You see why we are not authorized? We need this, like, look at this. When we were sending this data here, let me see. This product data, yeah, we defined that it should be inside a product, right? Oh, product is set to, this is great because we are defining that the product, if we're receiving the data, then the product is set to product. This should be, there's no redundancy, but I think this is fine. This is fine. And then the headers, I don't think this should be the case. So this is JavaScript. Okay, then the headers is just probably you sending the wrong header, right? So let's see. We are not authorized. Maybe let's try logging in again and see. Maybe if forgot to, let's try logging in again. Cool. So let's see. Info. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 15. This is an admin. And let's add a product. And then this image is too long. I hate it. We can load that okay. I'm trying to see why unauthorized is working. The first true was for the one unauthorized. Um, let's see the bearer technique because having what maybe the bearer technique is wrong because the bearer is what we're gonna use to change this thing. So the token is going to be this one. So the token um, thing, this is the yay! Haha. The problem was with the token, right? Did you see that? Because already the token was containing I'm sorry I did this. The token is already having the bearer, like the bearer key, so it's bearer then the token. And what I was doing is that I was what I was doing is that let's go back here. I was just calling token and then adding the bearer here. I don't know if you saw this, right? I was just still adding the bearer. It was bearer thing, and then it was wrong, right? And that's why we're having unauthorized. And now good to go. We authorized. We created the thing successfully. And then like if we go to our DB, let's see the database response. We've inserted this successfully, right? We've inserted this successfully. And let's try to see if we go to the helm. We're gonna see this guy. Yeah, this is the new one that we created. Let's add a new one. But you see, when we create something, I think the best thing to do is that we should route the user to the main page, right? So that the user can see what has been created. So we can you remember how we redirected the user after creating the like sign up? We just say window the location dot href with this that, right? And then we can just go to the product slides. And then after sign up successful, what do we do? But we first need to know if the response was set to this. So let's try one more time. Let's add a new product. Great. So this is going to be Susan is tired. Oh, let me worry Susan again. Let me go and grab hold of a nice house. Yeah. Okay, let's click on this one. Okay. Let's just use this for testing. So copy email address. And then this is nice house. Great. And then the image is going to be something like this. The description, and then the category is not loading. Why are you not loading? Because when we click on this, we don't reload the page, and then the data is only reloaded. Data, you see, the page is not reloaded. We'll fix that later, right? So this is that's my email. Then we go to the description of my house, and then it's a house. There is a house, and then it's from whatever company we like. And then let's look at this guy. We hit submit, and boom, it got created. Great. Let's see if we are able to load this nice house. Yay! Can you see this nice house? Whoa, nice house at Medina. Very nice house. There's a price, and look, the house that we just. Hello, how you doing? Hope you're doing great. Yeah, I restart my computer and then try coming back to this application. And there's something interesting I found, and I would like to show you. Now, before we keep going, I'd like to tell you that I've added the orders, right? So that we can load all the orders in the array. After adding the product, I've added the orders, right? But there's something interesting. Look, this user is logged in. That's why we have this log out button here. And if we want to check, we can go here, inspect, go to the app, application. Great. So we have this user bearer token, everything here, right? He's logged in. That's why we can see this. But then if we try hitting the, if we try hitting this guy, we're going to see that we are unauthorized. Let's try seeing something. I'm going to add anything for you to see that, yeah, this is not working. So we have his token, right, working over here. Great. Can you see this? It failed. And the status is 401. It failed. And when we go to the API, see, we getting unauthorized. When is the user not authorized? When the user is not logged in. But we can see that the user is logged in over here. And this is something interesting. And I found out that the reason is that the token we are sending to the front end has expired. That token has expired. That's why we are receiving unauthorized. But meanwhile, on the front end, the token still exists. We did this in the Rails backend. We gave the token an expiration date. If you like, let me show you what it means. I think it was in device, the RB initializers, whatever. And then look, we said that the token is going to expire in 30 minutes. And it depends on where you are getting your token from. It could be 10 minutes, it could be 5 minutes, it could be something else. So this token has expired. That's why, although the token still exists, but the user is unauthorized, right? So what do we do? How do we handle this? And I figure out that the best way to do this is that we don't have to save the token inside local storage, because local storage just saves the thing and it is just going to be there until you delete it. And we don't want that way. So it's best to save the login information inside the session storage. Now, the difference between local storage and session is that local storage can save so much data, and the persistence, it can just be there till like you can't delete it. But the session storage persists the data, and once you close the browser or once you close the tab, boom, the data is lost, right? So instead of saving this data inside local storage, it's very simple. All we do is that instead of using local storage, we're going to use session storage, right? And then the whole function, everything is the same. So let's go to wherever we had local storage, and then we were having it inside the auth. So we're saving local storage dot set item, right? And then we're setting this item. But the only difference you're going to do is just seeing that session storage, right? And then let's just call the session storage dot set item. And then it just have the same function. So we are now going to save the data inside the session storage, right? And when we want to retrieve it to, we should go to the local storage. Let's change it in all the places, and then great. We are using session storage, right? And then we are going to save this data inside the session storage. And when we want to retrieve it, we like to retrieve it from the session storage. Everything looks the same. Local storage.get item, session storage.get item, session storage add item, everything works the same way, right? So let's go ahead and clear this user information, restart. And then we have this login, right? So let's try logging in. And I'm now going to tackle something like this. Can you see that we said that this route, product/new, is going to be available or accessible by only the admin. Although this guy is not logged in, we've deleted the data from the like the storages. We don't have any data, but he still can see the form. We don't want it this way, so we're going to handle this later. But let's do this info. Perfect. And then the difference is that we are now having this data inside the session storage. Can you see this? This is now, the data is now inside session storage. And then session means that the moment we close the tab, right? Let's close the tab. Boom. And then let's close this browser, right? Let's open the browser again. You see that we lost the authentication. You will lose the authentication. Or if the page you refresh, you're not coming back, window, whatever, and then let me go back, and then let me just copy this guy here into potential, and then you see now we have the login thing because the session is lost, right? That's the difference between local and then the session storage. It's always going to be lost. As far as we lose the session, we lose the data. But if we had saved it inside the local storage, then the data is going to be there. Right? And this is just a minor change I'd like to draw your attention to. That's the first question. And as you can see, if I try going to the slash product and then product slash new, we said that this product slash new like should only be accessible by only the admin. But now what do we see? This guy is not logged in, but he can see that. We don't want this to have here. It's something I almost forgot to add. And then now let's do this. And there's something called a private route or protected route. So private routes and those private routes, it allows us to, like, we can only say who is authorized to view something. And then we can allow the person to view that thing, right? And then you can go ahead and see that if you you're implementing private routing, what happened? Let's assume that we want a route to be only accessible by the admin. Then we do something. It means that even if the user should try and then try going there, we should navigate the user bar. And then how do we handle that? Let's go over here and then let me declare a function called the private route, and then we're going to use that function to make sure that only the right user is having the access to some route. Well, we're doing that in the tabs, right? In the tabs. Here, we're doing that in the tabs here. But if the user should navigate by himself there, we don't have any control. There should be some control. So we can, oops, here. There. So, import the navigate from React to down. Right. Perfect. So have you seen this? Let's go to product slash new. Great. You see this? And let's say this brings us to the end of our whole thing. We could go ahead and be doing all the nitty-gritty stuff, but I think what we talk about is to have an overview of how React works, how we take data, display the data, render things conditionally. And then we've talked about almost a lot. We started from the navbar, how we render the navbar items conditionally, right? And then we render some of these things when the user who's logged in is an admin, and then we render some when the user who's logged in is just a normal user. And then we were able to list all these products, and then we can go to a product details page, and then we can add a new product, right? We can add a new product which is working. We can even load the data, like other data from the we can even load this data like I think what we need to do is that we can load this data when we load that screen, so that at least when we go here, because React does not refresh the page when we start moving from like you start moving within the link, so the page is not refreshed, and then we only call the use effect when the page refreshes. So you can handle that later. Like yeah, can you see the same when we go here? We don't have this, so we have to refresh the page before the use effect. So we can handle that later, but at least we have a working application, which is great. We got the basics for doing these React things, and it's almost everything we can do in React. We've touched on that. We designed this component which we can reuse to just wrap around all the pages that we're going to work on. And then we designed, we handle the logout button, which when we log out, it takes us to the home page. And then we can decide to log in, right? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we can decide to log in. And then once login is successful, take us to the home page. We show a loading button if the data is loading, and then we load the data. And I think for now, we've done a lot, right? And there are still some stuff. For example, can we allow the user to create an order? And then can we show this user his orders, the orders that belongs to him? And then sometimes too, let's assume that I'm logged in right now, but I try going to the /sign up or /login. You know, in other applications, like in real world applications, we should redirect you because automatically you are logged in. So what can you do? You can just take this as an assignment. You can just go check inside the local storage, and if there's a token belonging to this user, then we redirect the user back because he's authenticated. We don't want to allow him to go back again. Right? And then we can do the same thing for sign up. And then we can add some more content here. Yeah, we can even go ahead and add page being responsive over there. But at least for now, we got the basics. We got all the basics to work with React, and then how do we call it? Right. For now, let's end here for the session, and then later, if you have any questions, you can drop them, and I'm going to answer them for you. Right. So I really appreciate you coming. My name is Alfred Boateng, and I was glad to lead you through this whole tutorial. And thank you so much, the friends from my province, Susan, everybody. I really appreciate that. All right. God bless you.